lovely peoples. I have just pulled back into our Airbnb after a wonderful 7 a.m. yoga class with my dear friend Rachel. It was a hot yoga class and I was using it as research. While I've been here, I've taken a few classes. I'm going to link the studios I've been to down below. I took another class yesterday at a studio called Yonder Yoga, which was excellent. And this morning, the studio was called Bring It Om. I think if I lived back here in the States again, I would have so much fun with punny studio names. Excellent. Excellent. Or just a great way to start the day. I had only been to Atlanta once before this trip, which is kind of sad because I attended the University of Georgia and I didn't make it to its capital more than once. But being here this time, I've seen just how beautiful of a city it is. It's super green, gorgeous place. I mean, the people are so warm and hospitable. The food scene is off the chain and it's very walkable. It's just also a good melting pot of cultures, which is very attractive to me living in Brussels and just as someone who likes to meet different people from around the world and hear different languages. Me gusta. And we're leaving this morning from Atlanta to drive up to Nashville, which is going to be the final stop in our road trip. The second to last stop on our road trip brought us to Lynchburg, Tennessee, home of Jack Daniels. Now, I'm not a big whiskey drinker, but Robert was as happy as a dog with two tails visiting this distillery. Seeing his huge grin for the duration of the 2-hour tour was just the sweetest thing. Did you know every single bottle of Jack Daniels in the world is produced right here in Lynchburg? It's quite an impressive feat when you consider just how many minibars there are out there. The year was 1864. Jasper Newton Daniel, aka Jack, leaves home to learn the art of whiskey making at the Call farm under Reverend Dan Call. There was an enslaved man working on the farm named Mr. Nathan Green, who worked alongside Jack to make whiskey. Jack would later hire Nathan as master distiller at his own company. 2 years later, Mr. Daniels introduces the world to Old No. 7, his signature charcoal-mellowed Tennessee whiskey. It was the first registered distillery in the US, conveniently situated next to the mineral-rich Cave Spring Hollow. To this day, all of the water used in the production of Jack Daniel's whiskey comes from this mighty spring. The sweet, amber-colored drink continued to enjoy popularity throughout the country for years. And in 1904, Old No. 7 takes a gold medal at the World's Fair in St. Louis, Missouri. It was the first of 7 gold medals No. 7 would be awarded. How poetic. But then, in 1919, the 18th Amendment was ratified, and Prohibition became the law of the land. Now this is where things get interesting, because according to the Jack Daniels website, the company couldn't legally sell their supply of whiskey, so master distiller at the time, Jess Motlow, apparently stored it in warehouses in Birmingham, Cincinnati, and St. Louis. And again, according to the site, for several years, a whole lot of good whiskey winds up doing a whole lot of nothing. Now, I'll let you make up your mind as to whether people stopped drinking whiskey entirely for more than 10 years. Methinks not. Fast forward a few decades to the end of World War II and the advent of jazz music. At a quaint New York City bar in 1949, a man by the name of Frank Sinatra enjoys a glass of Old No. 7. According to reports, Jack Daniels never paid Sinatra to promote their product, but it's estimated that over the years the company earned billions from his endorsements. Whiskey and jazz music, a match made in heaven from the start. Cheers, y'all.
Is everybody having a good time out there? Woo! So over here to my right, I've got my husband. Kenny Fuller. I was gonna say something sassy and then decided against it. So here we go, Kenny Fuller.
Going out tonight, I'm feeling alright. Gonna let it all hang out. Wanna make a noise, really raise my voice. Yeah, I wanna just get a shout.
As this video draws to a close, I'd like to end with a few reflections from our time spent in the South. Even though the trip was quick, just over 10 days, Robert and I managed to visit 3 different states and logged more than 900 miles, about 1,500 kilometers, behind the wheel. In this little corner of the world, you can find mountains, sea, and swamplands, as well as a spectrum of animals ranging from alligators to pythons to hummingbirds. And the people who live here are just as warm as the weather. It's not for nothing that the expression Southern charm is widely used across the US. With a rich and storied past, there is so much to explore in this region. Whether you come for the barbecue, the lively music scene, or simply to enjoy the natural elements, I do believe there is something here for everyone. And on a slightly more personal note, this vacation reminded me just how important friends and family are. We tailored the trip to visit members of my extended family, as many of them are scattered across multiple states and cities. Unfortunately, having this kind of family setup is not uncommon for Americans. As I said earlier though, it may not be ideal to live so far apart, but it does make it all the more special when we can finally reunite. It's not the amount of time together that necessarily counts, but the quality of that time that matters. And this trip definitely ticked that box. Thank you all so much for watching and following along on our little Southern road trip. Lots of love, y'all.